How Reacher beats Paulie in the book, and why the live-action version is better. Even when it comes to portraying Reacher and Paulie, Season 3 takes some intriguing creative liberties. For instance, the size difference between Paulie and Reacher is relatively greater in the Amazon Prime Video detective series. Both the book and the Reacher season feature an all-out showdown between the two giant characters in their final arcs. While the two characters' fights are compelling in both the book and the show, Reacher Season 3's ending brings some massive changes to its source material to make the showdown look even better. In the original Lee Child novel, Paulie almost beats Jack Reacher to death before Reacher spots one weakness in Paulie's approach and uses it to his advantage. Like the version of the character in the show, Jack Reacher in the book initially proves to be a far more skilled fighter than Paulie because Paulie never felt the need to polish his fighting abilities. His sheer size was enough for him to overpower people. However, despite being far more skilled, Reacher struggles to take him down because of his massive stature. However, luckily for Reacher, Paulie's ego eventually gets the best of him as he steps back from adopting a basic fighting style and attempts to use a fancy kick. As soon as Paulie executes the kick in the book, Reacher grabs his leg, lifts him off the ground, and hurls him off his feet. Once the big guy falls to the ground, Reacher delivers several brutal blows that turn the tides in his favor. Paulie eventually gets up, but Reacher gradually wears him down by delivering calculated blows to his arms. After breaking Paulie's arms, Reacher gets his hands on a gun and points it in Paulie's direction. He then concludes the showdown by shooting Paulie 12 times in the chest. In Reacher Season 3's finale, the titular character's fight with Paulie lasts far longer and seems way more brutal. It also highlights one crucial thing about Reacher that gives him a significant edge over Paulie. Reacher's live-action Paulie fight highlights the intelligence of Alan Ritchson's character. Paulie gets two opportunities to kill Reacher in Season 3's finale. The first is when, despite having a gun, he chooses to have a fistfight with Jack Reacher, claiming that they should duke it out like real men. Much later in the fight, Reacher loses consciousness, which gives Paulie the perfect opportunity to take his life. However, he still goes through the trouble of hanging him with a chain to give him a slower, painful death. Jack Reacher, in contrast, does not underestimate his enemy and realizes he must kill him as soon as he gets the chance to. Lee Child's Jack Reacher novels are no strangers to brutal showdowns, but few confrontations stand out like Reacher versus Paulie. In the novel Persuader, Reacher goes up against a towering, near-superhuman enforcer named Paulie, a fight that stretches the limits of what even Reacher can survive. But when Amazon adapted this showdown for Season 2 of Reacher, something remarkable happened. The scene not only stayed faithful to the source, but improved it in a way that made the stakes feel more personal and cinematic. Let's dive into how Reacher beats Paulie in the book, what makes the live-action version different, and why the TV fight might just be the better of the two. Paulie, a Goliath even Reacher hesitates to fight. In Persuader, Paulie is described in typical Lee Child fashion, enormous, thick as a doorframe, and heavily muscled to the point of absurdity. Reacher compares him to a refrigerator with feet, and even admits internally that he probably can't win in a fair fight. That's a rare admission for Reacher, who typically dispatches his opponents with brutal efficiency and little self-doubt. But Paulie is a different breed. He's not just big, he's experienced, ruthless, and eerily quiet. There's a scene in the book where Reacher sizes him up and concludes, with disturbing clarity, "I can't beat this guy hand to hand." So how does Reacher win? He doesn't, at least not conventionally. True to his character, Reacher adapts. He fights dirty. He uses misdirection and psychology, at one point feigning weakness and luring Paulie into making mistakes. And when brute strength isn't enough, Reacher relies on one of his oldest allies, sheer tactical cunning. In the book's climactic battle, Reacher draws Paulie into a tight space, reduces the big man's movement advantage, and uses a combination of blunt force, chokeholds, and furniture to eventually subdue him. It's a desperate, drawn-out fight that leaves Reacher battered and bloodied, showing just how close this one was. Reacher wins, but just barely. Why the book fight works so well? There's a brutal poetry to the book's version of the fight. Lee Child writes violence like Hemingway wrote boxing, stripped down, fast, and full of consequences. The prose is efficient, with quick-fire sentences and a deliberate pace that echoes the rhythm of an actual fight. Reacher doesn't come out of this brawl looking invincible. If anything, he's more human than ever. That's part of the appeal. Unlike many action heroes, Reacher bleeds. He takes hits. He limps away from battles. That realism, even in a world of over-the-top antagonists like Paulie, grounds the story. But there are limits to the written word. As vivid as Child's descriptions are, nothing quite matches seeing two titans collide in live action. Reacher versus Paulie on screen, a smarter, sharper clash. In Season 2 of Amazon's Reacher, Paulie returns, and he's every bit as monstrous as readers imagined. Cast as a massive, almost mythological enforcer for Langston's operation, Paulie in the series is even taller and more physically overwhelming than book fans hoped. He doesn't say much, but when he moves, the ground seems to shake. Alan Ritchson's Jack Reacher meets him head-on. And this time, instead of trying to downplay Paulie's dominance, the show embraces it. The fight is given cinematic gravity. No music, just fists, breath, and broken bones. Here's the twist. The show actually makes the fight better. Why? Because it doesn't try to make Reacher superhuman. The live-action Reacher takes damage. He gets knocked down. He's clearly up against a better-equipped opponent. But the fight choreography leans into Reacher's greatest asset, his brain. It's not a matter of brute strength, but reading patterns, spotting weaknesses, and turning Paulie's size against him. Reacher uses walls, doorframes, leverage. He targets joints, exploits balance, times his hits. And most importantly, he keeps getting up, showcasing that grim, iron-willed determination that defines his character. The show also uses camera work and pacing to amplify the brutality. The sound design, every crunch, grunt, and gasp puts you inside the fight. It's not stylized like a Marvel brawl. It's raw and close. Claustrophobic. Personal. Why the show's version wins? There are three main reasons the show's Paulie fight is better than the book. 1. Visual impact. Words are powerful, but watching Alan Ritchson trade blows with a 7-foot mountain of muscle is viscerally satisfying. You feel the weight of every punch. It's the kind of fight that makes you wince, and that's a good thing. It's not over-choreographed or flashy. It feels like two tanks colliding. 2. Pacing and payoff. The show builds the confrontation carefully. We see Paulie in the background, feel his menace growing. When the fight finally happens, it's not just a surprise boss battle, it's the payoff to mounting tension. The way it's staged makes the moment feel earned. It's not about spectacle, it's about catharsis. 3. Reacher's humanity. The series avoids turning Reacher into an unbeatable action figure. He wins not because he's stronger, but because he's smarter and more relentless. It's an echo of what Child built in the novels, a man who uses intellect as much as muscle, but amplified by Ritchson's grounded, stoic performance. A battle of titans, grounded in reality. In both versions, the Reacher versus Paulie fight works because it doesn't insult the audience's intelligence. This isn't a quick co or a stylized slugfest. It's a war of attrition. A game of inches. It respects the